So next topic of our discussion is Diffie-Hellman key exchange. Please remember guys, again this is not an encryption algorithm. It is an algorithm where it will help you out in exchanging the secret key or the symmetric key. So whenever the sender and receiver rely on one key, so then that key, it is called as symmetric key, if you remember. Okay, so till now we had never discussed how these keys will be communicated. If you remember, always I used to say that yes, these keys will be exchanged, or in both the sides the same algorithm will be executed, or they'll be communicating the key in the offline. So such statements I would have given you while explaining the encryption algorithm. So now literally we'll be trying to understand how the secret key or the symmetry key can be exchanged between the sender and receiver, the two in an encrypted form. Okay, so I mean to say how securely I can share the symmetric key between the sender and the receiver. Okay, so this the symmetric key will be exchanged using asymmetric encryption concept. Okay, where we'll be having a public key, private key, and with the help of these two keys I'll be generating a key, and that key will be considered as a symmetric key. So that is Diffie-Hellman key exchange. So this key exchange algorithm, it is named after two people, that is Diffie and Hellman. So when actually they worked and what is their full name, all these things you can find it in your textbook as well. Okay, so this is in general the algorithm what we have. Okay, so first we'll assume a prime number, some prime number I'll take, that as q, and I'll select alpha such that alpha is a prime root of q. So this q what I'm speaking about here, this q is nothing but the zp. Okay, so that p is nothing but q here, and this alpha is nothing but the generator. Okay, so we'll take a value which is present in that set, and that value to the I'll just raise that value to the generator mod q, that will give me a value. So that is the public key of this user a, sorry, this is not b, this is a. And next private key of b will be another number in the same set. So next the public key will be g to the power of, that is the generator, prime root here nothing but the generator, to the power of this value whatever you will be considering. So that mod q will give you. Okay, so next so on the sender end, so say if a is the sender, so he will have this private key. So this a, whatever x a he has assumed, so that will consider that will be considered as private key. So yb, any of this public key of this receiver b will be shared, we will be sharing his key with a. So he'll receive, on receiving his public key, he'll raise the public key value with the private key of a. Okay, mod q, so that will become one value. So ya raised to xb mod q will be done on the receiver end. So both of them will have the same value. See, you can better understand the algorithm in this what diagram. See, what we'll have is, first thing is, see, assume both a b know the base g, okay, the generator, and a modulus p in advance. So they'll have the set. So the value he might have 11, or the 11 what we had discussed in the previous video. Okay, so he might take the value as 11. So z11 will have the value will have the values from 1 to 10. Are you understanding, guys? So so base g, so he'll consider the base g 2. Okay, so 2 and p11, so these two things both a and b will be knowing in advance. So what this person does is, he'll choose a random integer a between 1 and p minus 1. Fine, so that a is considered as private key of the sender, and he'll compute a partial key g to the power of a mod p. Okay, next B will choose a random integer B. Again this B is also in the same set 1 to p minus 1. Okay, and he will compute what? Again a partial key g to the power of b mod p, and then he'll send that to A. Okay, see here, he'll choose compute g to the power of A mod p, and he'll send that to the receiver. So receiver will do what? He'll choose B. So even this B is in the range from 1 to p minus 1. Okay, and he'll compute g to the power of B mod p. Okay, so he'll share that, or he'll send this to the sender. So what this person does is he'll do g to the power of b mod p whole raised to a. That is nothing but g to the power of ab mod p. This fellow, he has received what? G to the power of a mod p he has received, and he has got his private key b with him. So he'll raise that with that private key value. So he'll get g to the power of ab mod p. So in both this sender A and receiver A, now they'll be working with their common secret key g to the power of a mod p, and hereafter the encryption process continues for them to communicate. Okay, so they'll be using the secret key, they'll encrypt their message, and they'll be exchanging between this, I mean to say this A and B will be communicating among themselves. Okay, so I hope you have understood, you have got better understanding now. So this choosing of A and B, this is very much important, guys. So it should be, the value of A should be between 1 and p minus 1. What is this p? P is a what? A prime number. Okay, so zp star, if you remember. So for example, if I take 11, p as 11, so 1 to p minus 1 is 1 to 10. So any number between 1 to 10 will be A. Any number between 1 to 10 should be B. Okay, so that value will then be communicated. So what this G and P value, this A and B will know it in advance. So on what generator they are working on and what is the prime number they have considered, both they'll share offline. Okay, that should happen. Okay, so this is Diffie-Hellman key exchange. So to understand, see here, let P is equal to 131, say for example P is equal to 131, G is equal to 2. Okay, so let the random number A, let this 131 in a sense, now in the set I have the values from 1, 1, 2, 3 etc. up to 130, isn't it? So P value is 131. So in the set I'll have what? 131 is a prime number, hot prime number. So 1 to 130 I'll have numbers 1, 2, 3 etc. So in that, assume that A will choose to have 24. Okay, so her partial key will be what? 2 to the power of 24 mod 131. Okay, so similarly if B choose to go with 17, then 2 to the power of 17 mod 131. See, this you can get it from calculator only. 2 to the power of 24 mod 131 will give you 46. Okay, I have missed writing here. You will get it as 46, and 2 raised to 17 mod 131, even this you can compute it in the calculator directly. Okay, no issues at all. So you will get the answer as 72. Okay, so next, after receiving B's partial key, B partial key is 2 raised to 17 mod 131, that is equal to 72. Okay, so 72 raised to 24. Okay, so A computes the shared secret key S. So 72 raised to 24 is the private key of A. So 72 raised to 24 mod 131. So now computing this is not a easy task. See here, 72 raised to 24. How do you compute this? So for that we have an algorithm, a method. Okay, how to compute it? It is very simple. For the first time you'll find difficulty in that, but please observe and follow the steps I'll explain now. Okay, so A to the power of B mod n, say for example if you are asked to perform. Okay, so for that what you will be doing is, you can go through these steps carefully. So first we'll assume value C is equal to 0. I'll assign this. Okay, let D is equal to 1. Next we'll get the binary representation of this power. Whatever the B value we have, will go its equivalent binary representation. Next, for I is equal to K down to 0, that is for all these. Okay, for each and every bit of it will be working. Okay, so first C is equal to 2 2 times C. Okay, next D is equal to D into D. So initially D is equal to 1, so each time it will be like D into D mod n you have to perform. Next, if Bi is equal to 1, if the bit here binary representation, if each bit, if it is equal to 1, then I have to perform what? C is equal to C plus 1, D is equal to D into A mod n. If Bi is equal to 0, then I can skip these steps. Okay, so next this I'll be performing until I'll have all the until all the bits in the binary representation of B is completed. So now coming to the example, this is only for your glance. Okay, so now see, say suppose if I am asked to find 7 to the power of 560 mod 561. Okay, so first I should get what? Binary representation of this 560. So 560, so binary representation by dividing it by 2. Okay, so I hope you all are familiar with this method of binary representation. So the same thing I have written here. See, 1 0 0 0 1 1 and then 4 zeros. See, 1 0 0 1 1 and then 4 zeros. Next, C and D is what we are computing in this algorithm repeatedly. So first what I have C. So first C is initialized with what guys? It is 0. Okay, and D is initialized with what? 1. Next, for any value for I is equal to K for the first iteration. Okay, C is equal to 2 into C. C is equal to 2 into C, in a sense what? C is what? 0. Okay, 2 into 0 is 0. Okay, so C is what? 0. Next, D is equal to D into D mod n. N value is 561. D into D, 1 into 1. 1 mod n is 1. Okay, so 1. If Bi is equal to 1, is Bi is equal to 1? Yes, it is equal to 1. Now C is equal to C plus 1. C value is what? 0. 0 plus 1, 1. Now I'll caught this 0 and I've written 1. Okay, next D into A mod n. A value is what? 7. Okay, D is what? 1. 1 into 7 mod 561. So 7. Understood? So next iteration again. Now 1 into, so C value what I have? 1. 1 into 2 is what? 2. Are you following? Okay, next D value is what? In the previous iteration I have 7. 7 into 7, 49. 49 mod 561. 49 I have. Is B is equal to 1? No. So if it is equal to 0, then simply square this and take mod. Okay, so 49 into 49 mod n, that is 561. You will get 157. Okay, so even in C also, see, I'll tell you, please observe, I'll tell for C initially. Okay, so 2 I have, B value is 0. Okay, so I have to just multiply the C value with 2. 2 2s are 4. Next, 4 2s are 8. Next iteration, 8 2s are 16 will happen. Since Bi value is 1, 16 plus 1 is what? 17. Okay, next 17 into 2 is 34. 34. Since Bi value is what? 1, so 34, see here, 34 plus 1, that becomes 35. Okay, next 35 into 2, 70. 70 into 2, 140. 140 into 2, 280. Why I am not adding it with 1? Because here all these bits are zeros. Okay, 280 into 2, 560. See the power 560. I'll stop. So I'll repeat it. See, whenever we have Bi is 0, only thing I have to do with C is multiply the C value with 2. So 2 into 2, 1 into 2, 2. Okay, 2 into 2, 4. 4 into 2, 8. 8 into 2, 16. Since Bi is 1, I'll add 1. Okay, 16 plus 1, 17. Next, 17 into 2, 34. Since Bi value is 1, this becomes 35. Okay, 35 into 2 is 70. 70 into 2, 140. 140 into 2, 280. 280 into 2, 560. Why didn't I add 1 here? The reason is Bi is 0. If it was 1, then I was adding it with 1. So now coming to D computation. Okay, D computation, if the bit here is 0, so then just multiply this twice. 49 into 49 mod 561. Okay, you will get 157. 157 into 157 mod 561, you'll get the answer as 526. Something. Okay, 526 I guess. Okay. 526 into 526 mod 561 is 103. Okay, since I have bit as 1, I'll not stop at here. 103 into 7 mod 561. I'll get the answer as 160. Next, 166, 160 into 160. That should be done, guys. Please remember, 160 into 160 mod 561. Okay. Next, you will get the answer as 355. Okay. So this 355 into 7 mod 561. You will get the answer as 241. Are you guys following? So this is very, very important. If you don't know this, then it is difficult for you to work with Diffie-Hellman problems. Okay. Next, 241 into 241 mod 561. 298. 298 into 298 mod 561. 166. 166 into 166 mod 561. You will get 67. 67 into 67 mod 561. You will get the answer as 1. Okay, so by Fermat's theorem you could have written directly the value as 1. Okay, but anyhow, for computation purpose I have taken this as an example. That's it. Okay, I hope you guys have understood. So whenever you have zeros here in BI, then just multiply the number whatever you have mod 561. Whenever you have this, so 1, in that case the previous value, multiply that twice, get the answer mod 561, you get the answer, then that into 7. Okay, so D into A mod n should also be performed. Okay, so this is how you will be performing, or you will be computing A to the power of B mod n whenever the value of B is very high. Okay, now applying the same here, you can see 72 to the power of 24. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? 24 binary representation I'll take 11000. Okay, now same thing. So now see, this is to keep track of the powers. That's it. Okay, whether you are resulting with the same power or not anta. So you have 1 and this 72. Excuse me. So next. So here again I have what? 1. Okay, so here 1 into 2 is 2. Next, since BI bit is 1, so 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, now here I have 72. 72 into 72 mod 131. You will get 75. Okay, next 75 into 72 mod 131. You will get the answer as 29. Okay, next 29 into 29 mod 131. You will get 55. 55 into 55 mod 131. You will get 12. 12 into 12 mod 131. You will get the answer as 13. So 13 will be your secret key. Okay, so similarly on the receiver end B. Okay, after receiving A's partial key, so partial key of A is what? 2 to the power of 24 mod 131 is 46. Okay, 46 to the power of 17 mod 131. So calculating from the calculator directly, it is really difficult. So in that case you can split the powers, even that works. Okay, so if not, you can go with this method. Even this is very easy. Once or twice if you work, so definitely you will find it very simple and easy. Okay, so 46 same way. Okay, 1 and 46 you will get. Next 1 to 2 is 2. Next 46 into 46 mod 131 you will get 20. 20 into 20 mod 131 you will get 7. 7 into 7 49. 49 mod 131 is 49. 49 into 49 mod 131 is 43. 43 into 2. Okay, sorry, here it is 43 into 46. I'm sorry, 43 into 46 mod 131. You will get the answer as 13. Okay, see the secret key on both the ends, it is 13. So 13 is the secret key. So now with the secret key they'll be performing further encryption process will continue. So when it comes to the analysis of Diffie-Hellman, as I already stated, say if the eavesdropper, if he is been provided with the knowledge of the prime number, the modulus, that number, and the generator, if he know these two things, so will he be able to derive g to the power of a b mod p? So that is our question. So this problem is referred as computational Diffie-Hellman problem. See, the only problem is, even though if he is aware of the generator and this prime number, computing this a b is a very difficult task. It is not that simple or easy. Even if you take with this a b, even the private keys, see, one way to solve the computational Diffie-Hellman is to obtain a and b from g to the power of a mod p and g to the power of b mod p, but entails computing discrete logarithm discrete logarithm, a problem that is computationally infeasible in the case where p is sufficiently large. If p is definitely very large number, then it is really very difficult for anyone to compute it. Okay, so next is how are they prone to attacks? Okay, though these discrete logarithms are used, how will the attacker manage to attack it? So one way is this man-in-middle attack. So what is this man-in-middle attack? So this is very simple. So choose a, compute g to the power of the partial key will be computed. So this a will send this across the network. Okay, so this attacker, what he does, he'll attack and he'll dump that g to the power of a mod p. Okay, and he'll take that g to the power of a mod p, he'll take, but now he'll choose a c and compute g to the power of c mod p, and that will be sent to b. Okay, so this person b, he'll receive g to the power of c mod p, and this fellow he'll compute g to the power of b mod p. Okay, and he'll send that to across the network. So this fellow, he'll take that and he'll generate g to the power of c mod p. Okay, so now he has got g to the, this attacker, he has got g to the power of a mod p value, and also he has got g to the power of b mod p. And what this a and b has been provided with the partial key, g to the power of c mod p. Okay, so now they'll take this g to the power of ac mod p, and this fellow will perform g to the power of bc mod p, and this secret key, common secret key, this is already known to this attacker. So whatever the messages they'll exchange here after encrypting the messages using this secret key can be easily viewed by the attacker. So this is how the attacker will manage to work. Okay, so this is called as man-in-middle attack. So one more type of attack that is this Diffie-Hellman is prone to is small subgroup attack. Okay, what is this small subgroup attack is? So what happens if you choose to go with small prime numbers? Okay, so if you go with small prime numbers, say for example 29, so for 29 here we have the generator. Okay, so the generator is 2 is being used as generator, and all these values are being computed. So all the values from 1 to 28 is generated by raising it by different values. So how this can be interpreted is 2 to the power of 28 will give you 1. Okay, next 2 raised to 1 will give you 2, 2 raised to 5 will give you 3. That is how we are supposed to interpret this table. 2 raised to 2 mod 29 will give you 4. 2 raised to 12 mod 29 will give you the answer as 7. That is how this table is interpreted. For example, this has been considered. Okay, so say for example, if suppose one of the communicating parties, say A, in Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol, choose the private key as 7. So, okay, so if they choose the private key as 7, okay, 7, if we choose to have the value as 7, 2 to the power of 7 mod 29 is what? 12. So the partial key computation will be what? 12. So in that case, see here, the subgroup of generated by 12 is, so 2 to the power of 7 will give you 12. So if I continue, 2 to the power of 14. 7 2s are 14, 14 7 3s are 21, 7 4s are 28. Like this the power will go. So 28 is the maximum number I have here, so I'll stop here. So now the possibilities are 12, 28, 17 and 1. So the secret key that gets generated, it could be any one of these values. So only 4 possible values. So any eavesdropper or any person in between can easily get any one of these numbers by 4, because the set I have here is only 4 numbers. So one among these 4 numbers has to be chosen. So how this is computed, here is an example. You can just go through. You can just go through that. Okay, so this is how this is the example. Even if you go through the steps here, you can easily understand, guys. So this is the example for small subgroup attack. So whenever your subgroup is very small, then for the attacker it is very easy to find out the number. That is what this attack is all about. Okay, so these are the topics that comes under Diffie-Hellman key exchange. Okay, so one thing is this, please work this example carefully, so that this is very much needed for you to solve the problems, any problems given on Diffie-Hellman. Okay, and also these 2 attacks. Thank you, guys.